live. Hello, internet. Welcome to my very first patron celebration. I would like to introduce you to one of my favorite peoples on the internet. He gets around a lot. He's very active on the internet. Everybody say hello to Michael. Michael, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
I am very awkward with introductions. I was like, I don't know how the fuck to start this thing. Um, so as far as this stream goes, there's really no specific plans. It's just kind of us shooting the shit and hanging out, and we might invite some people in later. But as for right now, I wanted basically to set this up just as my way of saying thank you for your patronage, but also just for being like a really awesome internet buddy. Like, we interact all the time, and you're super supportive of both me and Jeff, as well as like poisoning the well. And you're a patron of a lot of different people, aren't you?
Well, actually, at first it was just roaming millennial, and then I found you guys and went to you guys, and then poisoning the well. And actually, this month I added a bunch of other ones.
Oh my goodness, you're like the super patron. Yeah.
Not with all the ones I added this month. I started looking at it. I'm like, I want to do more, but yeah.
Well, I don't mean like with how much. I just mean like, just the fact that you're willing to like support content creators, and like if you really like a channel, you support them, and I think that's really fucking awesome. Like, I was talking to my mom about Patreon and how it kind of works and everything. And she's like, so if every single person just like donated $1 a month, that's a lot of money. I was like, yes,
Yeah.
it is. That is a lot of money. I was like, but not everyone has the ability to donate $1. It's like, where did that dollar go? And I know me personally, when I sign up for things and they automatically renew each month, instead of like, you have this charge that's due, would you like to make a payment? Like, if they automatically renew, I always, as soon as I see that like $5 charge on my card, I'm like, what charge is that? What is that for? Why am I missing $5? Oh, that's right. I have Dollar Shave Club. Oh, okay. That's right. So, like, I understand not everybody can support YouTube content creators, but even if you only have, people that are subscribed to your channel and you don't have any sort of financial backing, I think it's super important to have a support team behind you. Like, I have considered quitting YouTube so many times, not because like I
You
don't
can't
like
do
it,
that.
not because I don't like it, but because like I feel like I'm letting people down sometimes, because I don't, I try really hard to make good content, and like, I'm always trying to like one up myself. So I'm like, okay, so I did this before, so like, how can I make it better the next time? And then I look over and I see like Poisoning the Well, who always is just like bam, 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 with their like badass special effects and they're just awesome videography and just like the way that they do things. And I'm like, fuck, man, like, I can't compete with that. But then I think about it, I'm like, well, I don't want to compete with it. I want to support that and then do
Right.
my own thing. So, I appreciate you just being there as a good online buddy, really. Like, I think you what during that whole angry MGTOW thing, I think I vented to you a couple of times, and
Yeah.
I was very appreciative. Um we got our first super chat from a smart asshole. $5. Mems, I love you, but like in a platonic kind of way. Also, here's some monies. Also got drunk off Yield Pirate song. It was a good time. Yeah, there's a reason we have there's a reason there is a warning at the beginning of that song. I think, I don't know if it was it on Twitter or in the comments? I think it was a Twitter. Someone tweeted at me saying that they had never drank alcohol before and they decided to start drinking
Oh no.
from my song.
Oh no.
And they did it with like really, really high proof alcohol. Like, that was their first experience drinking. I'm like, why would you do that? No, don't.
They wanted to make sure they felt it. I'm sure that was the reason behind it. Good Lord, that just sounds
Like,
that's a way to go blackout your first time.
yeah, like that's just a really bad idea. Like, I myself am very particular when I play the pirate drinking song. Like, I'll admit, if I'm drinking liquor, I take bitch sips. because I know that thing is gonna get me drunk. So I'm like, bitch sips. That just a bitch sip is gonna get me wasted off of hard liquor. Like if I actually want to have a real chug, I have to drink like beer or cider when I'm singing it. Otherwise, just fuck. So back to you. What made you? So you said that you first started being a patron of Roaming Millennial. So how did you discover Roaming Millennial?
Actually, randomly, I was gonna say I didn't actually really follow anything on YouTube for the most part up until about last May. I started watching when I was in the military. We used to watch Philip DeFranco every lunch, and then when I got out, I just completely stopped, and so I started listening to podcasts. And one of the podcasts I was listening to, they mentioned YouTube channels, and so I started looking, and then all of a sudden I found Sargon, and then I just kept going down the rabbit hole, and eventually she showed up in my recommended over to the side, and so I was already watching her when the whole thing hit with Philip DeFranco, and then I was looking at all the Patreon stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll throw some money, and that's just kind of where it started. And I found Jeff off of the video he did for Mr. Repsion, and then
Oh God, what video was that? I can't remember.
I honestly don't remember, but I found it. And I'm like, this is really cool. So I went and I found the channel, and I just started binge watching everything, and I think it took me about a week, and I went through everything that he had for the most part.
All of Jeff's videos?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Which one? Okay, which one of his cringiest videos is your favorite? Because he does Jeff, my husband, his older videos. Some of them are kind of like, ugh. Like
that's the thing, though. I didn't really cringe at.
No, not at Jeff, but like the content, like the actual like stuff in it. Like for me, it's the organic rap one. It gets me every single time.
That one kind of hit me. Like, oh. But
because those people are so serious. They're so serious, and they just think this is the best way to get the word out about organic food. It's just like, why? You old white lady, you can't like put a big paper plate clock. Like,
I don't know. It took me about a week, and I got through all of his content, and then I found your channel, and I just started listening to yours like a podcast. And so I went through everything you had, which I think at that point was up to like episode 11 or something like that, maybe episode 10, and went through all that. And just started branching out from there. But I hadn't been too active online up until probably about a year ago. I spent about 2 years back home and just trying to figure out what all I was going to do. And I was driving about 6 hours a day for work. And so I was constantly listening in the car to podcasts and stuff like that. And that's when I finally, I got a job closer to home, and then I was able to, I'll spend a little more time.
So what did you do in the military?
I was a metrology technician, and basically the easiest way to describe that is we calibrate equipment that people use to fix gear. So anything from a torque wrench to a pressure gauge to any sort of radio test set or multimeter, we check the measurements off of known goods, and we make sure that they're within a certain percentage. Make sure that the actual standard reads what it says it's reading, and that's pretty much it. Just a bunch of nerd shit.
That sounds like fun though. Maybe it's just me because I really like nerdy things. I don't know. That sounds like a fun job though to me, as far as like being in the military compared to like other things you could have done.
Oh yeah, most certainly. I will say, learning the theory, because I went to school for about 6 months, and I went to school for about 6 months in the military for that job. And then afterwards, I got into it, and the theory was fun. The actual repair work was fun. The job itself was just really monotonous and boring.
Oh.
After a while, because it's the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, yeah, I can. That's pretty much the same for just about any job, though. When you get good enough and it just is no longer challenging, it loses all its fun.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am too. Like, that's why I really like the job I'm in now, because even though it is the same thing every single day, it's like there's so many different variables for each individual customer that I'm helping,
Mhm.
and it's always like I'm solving a puzzle. And most of the time, I can instantly just be like, "This is your issue. This is how we fix it," or "This is your issue. You're not going to fix it." Like
Yeah.
this is just how it is now. Um, but I love those one-off cases where I'm looking at a specific device and I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on here. I have to ask for help. And like, and the customer's like, okay, why do you sound excited? I'm like, because I like puzzles. Like, I'm sorry. I'm gonna get this solved for you. I guess I should be less enthusiastic about not knowing the answer right away. people
Well,
pe-
that
people aren't really sure how to handle that.
yeah, I was gonna say, especially from a customer service perspective,
Well, it's
I
not
can
really
see that.
it's not really an uncertainty. It's more like it's more of a situation of like, okay, I know what's going on. I know exactly what this device is doing. It's just like if this is allowed within certain parameters. Like it's more like, okay, I need to ask if this is a one-off that I should be watching for a while, or if I can just like replace this thing,
Yeah,
or if this is just how it is. But so
I
most
was
of the
just
time it's like it's only a fun puzzle for like 2 minutes and then I have an answer.
yeah. It doesn't take long usually to do that kind of stuff. My most I guess the most enjoyment I get out of my job is when I'm actually tearing into equipment. Just because for the most part, most of the measurements that we do, they're really easy to take. You just do a lot of setup, and as long as you're consistent with what you do, you'll have no issues. But when something's legitimately broken and I get to tear it apart, that's when I have fun.
Oh, you get the physical funness of playing with hardware. I'm so
Oh yeah,
jelly. I don't I don't get to play with hardware. I get to look at code and things like that. Like I mean it's
see
fun. It's
that's
still
fun too
fun.
though. I was gonna say I actually before I dropped back out, I was actually starting to do coding for school, and I enjoy both sides of that. Right now, I it used to be much more interesting in the military, and when I got out, I worked for an aerospace company, and I was doing the same thing. But now I work for a pharmaceutical company, and their equipment is so much simpler.
Oh yeah.
And pretty much it's a bunch of centrifuges and a bunch of -75 freezers, which are just really, I mean, they're simple pieces of equipment. So it's it's not quite as fun as tearing apart a giant radio test set and going into component test cards. So
Yeah, that is quite the dramatic change there
yeah,
from one job to the other. So, how was that why you ended up switching jobs? Is because of the 6 hour drive or?
yeah, it was. When I got out of the military, I took the first job that was offered. I was actually medically boarded. I screwed up my neck really bad in a training accident, and afterwards, about 2 months later, I got into a car wreck. So
Oh fuck.
it just aggravated the injury, and when they took the MRI, all of my discs were all fucked up, and so I have two that are bulging and one that's really compressed. And they said that I have some sort of degenerative disc disease. So when I came out, I was having a bunch of issues. I could barely walk, and so I took the first job I could get, and that put me in a car, which made the physical healing worse. But I was able to rehab myself out of a lot of it just because I wasn't on their schedule, so I was able to do stuff a little bit easier and see some of the VA docs. And afterwards, it started healing up a lot better. But then I was just depressed that I was always on the road, so I started looking for any job in my field that was close to home, and one opened up with a company that had been bought out, and I was able to get in there. It was actually really funny. I sent in the resume and I completely forgot. It had been about a month. I got a call and they said, "Hey, we don't want to do a phone interview. Can you come in, 2 days from now?" I was like, "Okay." So I went in, and when I went in, they were talking to me, asking me what all I did, and I explained it to them. They're like, "Oh yeah, you're overqualified for this." Okay, and they called me on my way home. They're like, "Hey, can we get your references?" Yeah, sure. So I went in the next day and I gave my boss my 2 weeks notice, and he was from a pharmaceutical company, and he told me flat out, he's like, "I can't match what they're paying you, and they're 30 minutes away from home." No. He
Yeah.
said, "Have fun, because you'll make good money doing it. The work's easy. Just know that it's kind of hard to move up because the field's kind of tight.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, it's good."
Do you use one of those inversion tables, like where you can strap your ankles into it and like invert upside down
I
for
do not.
your discs?
I do not. Excuse me. I see a chiropractor a couple of times a week. I try to regularly work out, and I do a lot of stretching. Biggest thing that I did was, after not putting as much strain on my body as the military did, I changed up my diet a lot for a long period of time, and that actually helped with a lot of the pain. The biggest thing was just, I guess, learning to live with it, because it never goes away. I have good days and bad days, but it, the more the more I get used to it, I guess, in a sense, the better it gets. It's
Yeah,
just kind of day to day thing.
I feel that. My dad doesn't have nearly as bad of a disc issue as you have, but I guess he ended up getting like calcium deposits in between his discs.
Mhm.
Um, fuck. I can't remember exactly where it is, but it's like somewhere up in here. So he has to drink like apple cider vinegar every single day, and then he like does the inversion table to like kind of release some of the pressure
Yeah.
for it. Just hang there. Um, in fact, when I was a teenager, like very right before I started going on the road, is when he got the inversion table, and like one time he totally like passed out upside down, and I like came home from
All the blood
school.
rushed to his head.
Yeah, he totally like passed out. I was just sitting there snoring. So I like very slowly like tilted him until he was horizontal and like let him sit there for a minute, just like holding him, so like the table was flat, and then like slowly higher and higher until he like woke up and he was like, "How long was I out for?" I was like, "I have no idea. I just got here like 20 minutes ago." So
Uh,
but they're surprisingly they feel really good on your back.
I've heard a lot. Actually, my chiropractor recommended it, but I don't have the room for one.
Yeah.
So we're hoping to move next year, in which case I should have a lot more room to be able to put things like that in the house, and do something. I hate using gyms, and we have a gym membership, and I really would like to just do the workouts at home. That's what I always did growing up. It's just much easier.
I like going to the gym. I just hate the getting there.
Yeah,
I like working out at a gym. I like using their equipment and not having to maintain it or, keep it clean or anything like that. It's just like, oh, here's my locker and I can use this stuff, blah, blah. But like the physical, like, oh, I have to get in my car and like I have to go there and then I get done and then I have to like get out of the building and then go somewhere else in order to get home. It's just like that.
yeah.
No, I don't want to deal with that. I just want to do it here. But even now, like I've been so bad. I have been so bad and I have not been working out and I've been making every excuse under the sun. I really need to get back into it.
That's me recently. We've been extremely busy just at work and in general, and it's kind of cut into it, and I start to feel it after a while. I slack on my eating routine, on my workout routine, and my pain levels start to just edge up a lot. Um, that's that's probably the biggest thing that I've noticed. It just makes it so much more difficult as life gets in the way, and that's one reason I liked the military. There was so much stuff that just kind of got thrown at you last second, but for the most part, you had a lot of shit that was just scheduled out. You knew what you were doing day to day, and then midway through the day, you get told, "Hey, in 2 hours, you got to be somewhere," and it was what it was. But I always knew I was able to work out or something like that, at least
Yeah.
at some point.
I need to change my habit because like right now my workout routine is like okay, like late afternoon after I get off of work is when I'm supposed to work out, but it's been so busy at work lately that I'm just physically exhausted and I can't do anything. Like I work from home and I'm physically exhausted by the time I get off of work because of how taxing it is just like
The mental really does play over to the physical.
yeah. And
it, it surprises you the first couple of times it hits you. It's like, I didn't do anything today.
I've just been
Fuck.
sitting here like why am I so fucking tired? Like literally this past 3 days after work, I'm just like I just want to sit here on the couch and watch Twin Peaks until it's time to go to bed. That's all I want to do and that's all I'm going to do. And so that's all I did. So I need to change my workout routine to be in the morning before I do anything, which sucks because I start work at 7 a.m. So right now I wake up at like 6:15 and I go and I press on and turn on the coffee maker and then I just kind of like sit half asleep on my couch waiting for the coffee. And like I don't I don't have enough time in my wake up routine right now. So if I really wanted to work out in the mornings, I'd have to wake up at like 5:30.
Especially, I prefer. It's much easier for me just because I'm already awake to do it during the day, but I prefer doing it first thing in the morning because it usually picks
It
you
wakes
up.
you up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And but when you realize, oh shit, I got to get up like 2 hours earlier.
Yeah.
No.
It's not that bad in the wintertime when it's like dark out longer and
Yeah.
dark earlier, but as summer rolls around, it's light earlier in the morning and then it's light here until just about I'd say 9:30 is when
Yeah.
it finally starts to get dark. So I'm like my proper bedtime should be 9 p.m. right now for me waking up at 6 and I haven't been able to go to sleep until like 10:30, 11 just because of the way the light is. Ugh.
Shit,
So
my body's still on West Coast time. I was gonna say I still go to sleep at, I want to say, what is it, like 3, 4 o'clock? That's when I actually fall asleep. Usually it's because at night that's when my pain levels shoot up. So I have a hard time actually relaxing enough to fall asleep. But usually 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, that's when I pass out. And
so you're like Jeff.
yeah,
Jeff is an insomniac. I cannot get that man to go to sleep at a decent hour. Um, Oh, got to pause it here from Brett McDowell. $5. Love you, men's, and glad I found you to be the first person I have given money to and inspires me to travel even more. Aw, thank you. Yes, everyone should travel somehow, some way. Not necessarily everyone should hitchhike, but definitely travel. All of the travels.
it's
Um,
fun.
yeah, it's so good for the soul.
Yeah,
Just like going somewhere new. Just once in a while. Like last year, Jeff and I didn't go anywhere. We didn't do anything. Like I just literally worked the whole time. And we kept saying like, "Oh, we're going to go camping. Oh, we're going to go do this and that." And like I think we went to the beach once, which is like an hour and a half from here. So we did like a day trip and just went to the beach, but besides that, we just worked and 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 worked. And this year,
it wears
once
you
we
out.
it really does. But we had to do that. Like we just were at a spot where we couldn't afford to do things that we really wanted to do. And, thanks to last year of doing nothing but work, basically kind of just giving up life and just working, now we made it to the point where we actually can go travel. And so
That's awesome.
yeah, and I was really tripping out today because I was paying off my paying $100 into my student loans, and I was like, it's such a trip that 10 years after I started traveling and being on the road, like now I'm at this place in my life where I can actually afford to pay my rent and all of my bills and pay off student loans and still have money to put in savings and take care of my kid. Like that is such a trip to me. Like I've literally eaten out of dumpsters in order to survive and I slept under like concrete bridges and here I am like being able to, donate to my friend's GoFundMe if if I see it on my Facebook timeline, I'm like, oh, my friend needs help. Here you go. Like, it's weird. It's really weird, and it's really tripping me out. I think it's tripping both me and Jeff out because we, just never really been these types of people
No,
before.
I get that. It took when we got out of the military, I was driving that far, but I wasn't making, for that kind of drive, you'd expect decent money. I wasn't making much at all, and
Ugh.
I was hurting. So we had moved in with family, and it took a long time, but about last year, when certain things started falling into place, and we started when I started working for the company I'm at, it just all kind of seemed to fall into place, and we're able to actually afford to do stuff, and we're comfortable. And that was my thing, was just, I guess, pay it forward.
Yeah,
That was my biggest thing, is someone's always in a tough spot, or there's always someone in a tough spot. You may have been there, just you never know when you're going to need it, so do what you can.
exactly. And that's actually why I made sure that all of my Patreon goals are related to charity in some way. Like once I reach a goal on Patreon, I'm going to highlight a charity and see if we can get, some money together collectively to donate, or if nobody does, then I will just donate myself. But at least I spread the word about that charity. Like the first one I did was, I think, when I hit $50 on Patreon. I highlighted Beautiful Souls, which is a charity my friend runs to give new and gently used shoes and brand new socks to kids that are low income or no income in Seattle. And I've watched her create that charity from the ground up, and I've seen all the hard work she does. And like, what really prompted me to start doing that was, Jeff did his charity live streams where he was like playing video games for 24 hours straight. Um, and seeing how excited everybody got, in the chat when, like, oh, we're this far away from reaching the goal to like donate to Miss Bartlett's math class. And like everybody was just getting so excited every time a dollar was thrown down. It was like, yes, like that's another dollar for Miss Bartlett's math class. And watching this collective excitement of knowing like we are all doing something really good for people that are actually going to appreciate it. And I don't know, when I saw that, and I just wanted to like, I wanted to do that myself with my own platform, like I'm at a place now where I've gone from having no money in my pocket and eating out of a dumpster to now, like, technically speaking, I guess you could call me lower middle class. And that's really weird. So if I have this platform for YouTube, like, and people are willing to like donate to me and what I create, like, it's not necessarily just that people are supporting my YouTube channel, but you guys are supporting me in a way that I can spread the word about other charities that can help people. And that's really what I want to do with this platform, is like spread awareness to like help people in other areas. And like, you're wearing the K9 for Warrior shirt, and it makes me so happy. So yeah, all of you people that are watching, we did donate to K9s for Warriors today, and I will have a video up about that in a few days. But it's just, it feels good to be able to help people. Like, if I had the time available, I think if I wasn't on YouTube, I probably would have like I'd probably volunteer at one of the local feeds here in Eugene, because we have a huge homeless population. And being someone that did sleep on the streets in Eugene, I always appreciated that. But doing YouTube and working full time, I just don't have the ability to. So as long as I can help other charities out. But we got a 2 pound super chat from Badger that says, Mems, what did you study at college? Mycology. No joke. I studied mycology. So that's the mushroom biology. I wanted to be a fungus scientist. And I did not succeed. I didn't get my degree. I passed all of my science and math classes, all of them, A's, perfect scores. It was just the social justice classes totally turned me off
Oh
because
God,
they're required in Oregon. They're fucking required.
are
Like,
you serious? Oh
yep.
God.
In order for me to get my associates of transfer from the community college, so I could go to the university in order to continue studying and actually get like my bachelor's or my master's or my doctorate in mycology, I had to get through all the superfluous other stuff not related to my degree. So that would have been like, there was a lot of art stuff that I passed. So like I got my extracurriculum in photography, and I think I did some extra math classes for extra credit just because I like
I was
math.
gonna say, if you like it, that's when it's fun to you. They're not really a big deal.
Oh
So
yeah, no, and my math teacher was a MILF, so I'm totally just
that's
like
always
I'm
helpful.
I'm gonna keep taking your classes, lady. But they had the reason they wanted you to take social justice type classes was because they wanted, a full rounded they wanted full rounded people when they got their degrees. And that makes sense. Like if you have people that have not gone out and experienced the world, they want you to have like a variety of different perspectives before you graduate.
It
And
makes sense, but those classes are nothing but indoctrination, and
right.
that's the biggest problem I have with it.
Yeah. And, being someone that has gone out and seen the world before going to college, I had a lot of disagreements. Like I took cultural anthropology as one of them, which I thought was like, okay, it's just like that's not social justice.
Yeah,
That's science. That's
and they
anthropology
found a
is
way to work
science.
it in, didn't they?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, like the first half of the semester or the term was totally fine because they do terms, not semesters. Um First half totally fine. We read this book called oh god, was it The Village People? Fuck, I don't
Well, that
remember.
sounds
The
fun.
forest people. No, it was actually really awesome. It was a book about pygmies in Africa, and it was written by
Oh, I thought it
um
was about Queen.
no, 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 no. It was about African pygmies and their culture back in like the late 1940s, early 1950s, written by like a European uh anthropologist that went over there and like lived with them and got to know them and like their culture and just kind of like told this story, but it was all true. It was like his journal, but in a book form. And it was fascinating and beautiful and wonderful. And I loved it. And I was
That
like,
sounds interesting. I mean,
yeah. And I was like, yeah, awesome. This is great. Let's do more of this. And then we got done with that and we moved on to the second half of the term and it became white shaming. It went
not
from like
like
learn
down
about
the
other cultures to we're going to vilify white people. Like literally just like flick of a switch. Like look at these other cultures. These are amazing and like we're going to focus
It
on
makes sense
on
though.
how awesome and unique they are to being like white man is the devil, white man like steals everything, white man kills people.
I was gonna say it makes sense. They build up another culture or several other cultures as, hey, look at all this interesting stuff that happened, and then look how the white people destroyed it all.
And
That I
and,
mean,
and it wasn't even like in a historical context. It literally became this fighting match between, ironically enough, this kid, I don't remember what his name was, but he had an afro and him going off about whitewashing and then him pissing off this kid that sat next to me named Jose, who was just like, I'm fucking sick of you going off about whitewashing. That's every single class just became that was like this kid just like turning every single lesson into a lecture about whitewashing and how white man is the devil and my teacher like agreeing with him and me learning nothing and then like this one kid like standing up and like I felt really awkward because I'm like white. I don't know. I'm native enough to get a fucking scholarship, but I turned it down because I don't feel like my stupid genes have anything to do with me going to school. Like I felt like if I was gonna get a scholarship, it should be on
It
my
should be on
math
merit.
scores or my scientific, like, you want to push me as to being a woman in STEM, like fine, but like not because I'm native. Like I don't fucking care. Like that's no. So like sitting in there, no, like hearing this kid going off about whitewashing and how like oppressed he is, and this other kid named Jose getting pissed off and not wanting to hear about it. I felt really awkward because I was like, I really want to like say something and be with Jose here, but at the same time, like I don't want to get kicked out of school, and I really want this mycology degree,
I want to pass. Damn it, I want to pass.
and I didn't know what to do. So I just kind of like sat there and took it until the very last day. I couldn't take it anymore. It wasn't like the last day of the term either. I snapped like halfway before, like it was like the halfway through the second half. So like 3/4 of the way through that term is when I snapped and just said fuck it and quit going. I just stopped because it was every single fucking class was like that. Like we're gonna talk about mathematics. This is why math is whitewashed. Like what? No.
Really? They've even pushed it into the STEM fields, like into hard STEM fields.
Yeah, it was just fucking students. It wasn't even like the teacher. Like some of the teachers were just like, "What are you talking about? This is math class." But like some of the classes, they just went along with it. And I think they were probably on the same page as me. It's like, how do you talk back, and how do you speak up without like becoming a villain these days? And this was back in 2015. Yeah, spring of 2015. So this is 2 years ago, and you couldn't speak up without becoming a villain.
It
So
doesn't surprise me. My cousin just started her first year, and I think it was a history class she was in. She wound up, she got barely a passing grade, and she's had A's pretty much her whole life. But she was telling me about how she was writing a paper, and in that paper she referenced the NAACP, and she put in the definition, and the teacher corrected the paper and said, "This is colored people is a derogatory term. It's people of color." This is the name of the damn organization. Are you serious?
like, are you trying to make me like what?
But yeah, she kept because they kept doing similar things. She wound up. She sadly made it known that she didn't agree with everything that they were pushing, and she definitely got hit for that.
Yeah, I was in one class. I actually straight failed because I refused to go along with it. And that was the term right before that anthropology one where I just like fucking dropped out of college. Like the term before that, I took interpersonal communication, which again didn't think was going to be a social justice class.
Microaggressions.
Oh, no, microaggressions weren't even like a thing at that point. Or at least it wasn't part of the curriculum. But like, so I thought, okay, interpersonal communication, helping me talk with people and understand people. This is good and relatable for like many number of things. I like conversation. I like dialogue. Maybe I can learn a thing or two. Well, it ended up just being a total circle jerk for my teacher. Basically, some guy wrote a book, which like it was written at like a 6th grade level. So reading this in college was kind of insulting. I don't know who the
You've
fuck.
met the people that go to college nowadays. Come on.
Oh my God. Like, I'm sorry, but as far as a textbook goes, like there was no fluidness to this at all. At all. Like he would have chapters, but then the chapters would be each page was something completely different in the chapter, and then they didn't flow together at all. Like it didn't have a coherent thought for the whole chapter. It was just like in
So
this
it's like
chapter,
an unorganized outline almost.
yeah, and it would be like each one would have like its own title and then an intro and then like a random anecdote and then it would just instantly go into the next one. Like there was nothing to like bring it back at the bottom of that like whole section before it went into something completely fucking different. And then at the end of the chapter where you'd think it'd be like, so this is what we talked about and like how they relate to each other. None of it. None at all. So that was helpful to begin with. But then like she had some crazy weird ideas. Like she was super adamant about being open-minded and liberal, and that's fine. Like I'm a pretty liberal person. Like I'm bisexual, I'm totally fine with gay people. Like I am one kind of. I'm half gay. But she was just very adamant about being the cool teacher who's down with everybody, and like I respect your pronouns, and like I'm gonna make very adamant that I'm gonna point it out to you in class, and like she was trying
virtue signaling basically.
Yeah, but she was trying so hard to be the cool teacher that she ended up making people really uncomfortable. Like I made friends with the only like gay man in there. Like there were two guys in our class, and the only gay man like decided, I'm going to be your friend now because you seem real and everybody else in here seems fake. I was like, okay, sure. And at one point in the fucking class, so we're not even talking about communication anymore. We're just talking about random things. And like I remember one of the statements she made was about friends with benefits, because it went from being communication to talking about like relationships and stuff like that. And one of her arguments was that friends with benefits isn't a real thing. And she said it's not a real thing because that relationship either evolves into being a regular relationship, or they go back to being just friends, or they no longer talk to each other. So friends with benefits can't be a real thing. And I looked at her
while it's lasting.
Right. I looked at her dead in the eye mid-class, and I raised my hand. She's like, yeah, Memory, what, like she knew I didn't like her. So she's like, yes, Memory. And I was like, so by your logic, you're divorced. Does that mean you were never married? And she just like, her jaw dropped like in middle of the class. And I was like, well, what? That's basically your fucking argument right now, is you're saying like marriage doesn't exist because it either evolves into them dying or they get divorced.
I'm going to bet her alimony check says differently.
Yeah. And she did not like that. But like that pissed me off. I'm like, I've had friends with benefits. Like just because the relationship may evolve into something else doesn't mean that it wasn't this for that period of time. Like, yet that argument makes no sense to me. And like I tried to convey, my disagreements in the lesson plans, but like in a polite way, like because I've always taken writing and I'm a very big fan of writing. So I took, a very persuasive approach of like, this is the lesson you're trying to teach us. Here's the regurgitatedness that you want, but I disagree, and here's why, and like gave my persuasive approach and then ended it. She fucking failed me every single piece that I gave back, even though I regurgitated everything for her like she was expecting, because I didn't go along with it and I didn't agree. I failed.
Blinded by it. That's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
I will say that skill, and I'm sure you've used it before, but that skill is awesome in the business world, to be able to send out an email, politely telling someone to go fuck themselves.
That's all customer service is telling someone to nicely fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's not true. Like most of it is actually like helping people and like, listening to them, letting them vent, realizing they're not actually mad at you. They're just mad at the situation.
Yeah.
And getting it resolved for them. That is the majority of things. But when it comes down to like having to tell someone no, that's when customer service is simply just nicely saying fuck you. like I love you, bless your heart, I really wish I could do this for you, but no. And this is why. This is our policies, and I have to tell you no. And my boss will tell you no, and their boss will tell you no. So no.
My partner at work, I pretty much construct those emails for him when he comes in and he's ranting and raving and yelling about something that's about to happen. He's like, this isn't right. I'm about to fire off an email. He's like, no, you sit down. Can you do this for me? And after he explains the entire situation, I'll just politely type it out and tell someone that they're stupid in a business manner and go along with it.
So you're his anger translator, but like instead of like Key and Peele, where it's the opposite, where you have like the translator being the angry person, it's like the angry person, but the translator is the like professionalness.
Well, I had to learn to a degree. My job in the military, I was dealing with a lot of people that were my rank, but randomly I would be dealing with a lot of officers who outranked me by a lot. And there was myself and one other person above me in my shop, and we were just non-commissioned officers. We were E4 and E5. And having to politely tell them that there was no way that they were going to get what they want, it became an art. And so you just kind of had to develop that.
I'm just imagining that is customer service to like the highest fucking level that you can think of. Like, oh, they might make me wash the fucking toilets if I have to tell them the truth here. Like, how do you customer service that? Because that's pretty much what it is. Like, you have to.
Oh yeah. Well, it would come down to knowing exactly what orders there were in the military and pointing them to them and saying, I'm actually being nice by granting you this, and this is as far as I will go. But if you want, you can go get this signed off by the base general, and he can tell you to go fuck yourself. I mean, that's pretty much what it came down to. But I mean, we had a lot of really nice officers. We had a lot of stupid ones, and anywhere in between. Same with anybody who wasn't commissioned. But it was just funny because they'd come in and they'd start barking and figuring that their rank would automatically grant them whatever they wanted. And no, sorry, can't do that. Nope.
Oh man. We have someone in the chat saying, I'm currently in a gender studies class. I'm failing because the teacher asked everyone's pronouns on the first day. She fails me because I'm a cis white male. Oh, you poor thing.
I'm sorry.
That's so not fair. See, like,
just transition. It'll make it better, right?
No.
I know.
See, like, I really wouldn't have a problem with gender studies if it was equal. And it's not. And like, that's one of the things that I really had a problem with at my community college when I was there is like we had a women's center, and I frequently had to use it because the library was always super full, and like I had a limited amount of time to go and use the computer in order to print stuff out because I didn't have a printer at the time. And so it was like, okay, I got to print out my homework. I typed it up, but I have to print it out. So I go into the library and look, oh, great, all the fucking computers are being used. And all right, so where can I go to print this out? Well, the women's center. That's only for women, and it's barely ever fucking used. So sure. So I went in there. But in order to do that, you have to give them your email address. So I got a bunch of like spam emails from them. And right before I quit college, I ended up getting a survey from them saying like, how can we make the Women's Center better? Or how can we make Lane better and more equal for all our students? And I said, honestly, open up a men's center. If we're going to have a women's center, I think we should open up a men's center. And I gave a big, long, persuasive essay basically in this survey. I was like, look, like, I do think this service is very awesome because you offer counseling to girls that really, really need it and aren't comfortable just going to a random counselor. You have women only in this area. So in some instances, that is really helpful because there's certain things that just a man won't understand, or it's just not comfortable talking to a man about these women's issues. So I get it. It was like, but I feel like it's unfair because we're leaving behind a lot of the men here at school that really need these services too. So I think if we were to open up a men's center, it would be more equal because then they could have counseling directed towards men's issues, you know? Like if a man is in an abusive relationship and it's a woman that's being abusive, he's more likely to feel comfortable talking to another man about this because that person might have also experienced it
Yeah.
and they understand what men go through, you know? And like I don't think it's very fair and it's very one-sided. And I get that we're trying to be equal here, but by having simply a women's center and we're not offering the same ability to men, it's
It's
not
not
fair.
equal. Yeah.
It's not. It's totally like it's going for equality, but it's instead imbalancing it. And they wrote me back and they were like, "But we're trying to be equal and that's why we have this." I was like, if you really want equality, the best way to get equality is to not focus on the things that make us different. It's
Yeah.
to focus on the things that make us the same. And it's like, so I don't have a problem with the women's center if we have a men's center. Like if we have all of these services available to anyone and then we have like, okay, but like here's this for yours and here's this for you sort of a thing, like, you know, for those specific instances that if you can see that it's helping the women, why not do it for the men? Like I don't get that. Like
Well,
I
I don't get it either, but you know the argument behind it. The argument is that every place is a man center because they take over everything. That's the argument.
yeah, I
It's
know
stupid.
the argument. I just disagree with it.
I agree. I think it's stupid, and I you see the growing number of MGTOWs and MRAs, and
Oh God.
I may not I may not agree with their ideals behind especially MGTOW, but there's certain points that they do have right. When we were in California, so many women I knew that were married to servicemen that specifically were waiting. They called it putting in their 10 years, and just so at 10 years they got alimony, and that's what they were waiting on. Plus, after that, if they've had kids
Yeah.
with
Yeah, I
uh,
agree. I agree.
if they've had kids with them, then not only do they have the alimony, but they've got the child support. So
Yeah.
it's really sad, and it sets up. I've seen so many guys that come back and say, why should I put myself at risk? Because ultimately, in their mind, what do I have to gain from this? And I think that's a wrong way to approach marriage, or any sort of relationship like that. There's a lot of good things that are given on both sides. At least that's how a marriage is supposed to work.
Yeah.
It's give and take. You're both supposed to bring your best to the table and try to make each other better. And as long as you've got two people that are doing that and actively working on that, then you'll see hopefully good results. But no matter what, ultimately it's a risk. I mean, the woman, and the same thing, they don't look at it in some ways. There are plenty of women out there that have been knocked up and left, and flat out somebody just poof disappeared, and they were left on their own. And it's a risk no matter what. Thank you for mansplaining. You're welcome.
He's not mansplaining. I agree with him. God damn it. Fucking smart ass chat. No, but that's the sad thing. And like something that I've been thinking about is, you do have a lot of MGTOWs who are just like, I'm fucking done with the dating scene. There's all these shitty things with women, and then you have women that are just like, I'm done with the dating scene. Like, I'm just gonna be a crazy cat lady. I know plenty of crazy cat ladies. I couldn't think of the female version to MGTOW, so we'll go crazy cat lady. That's
pretty.
But
Yeah.
So, but if you think about it, like, what is driving these people away from relationships? And I think it's not just the shitty circumstances that happen with gold diggers or girls that are just using a man for his money, or vice versa, a man that is like wanting to overbear and control a woman, or just flat out is just not really there. I think this is a really fucked up cycle that we've been in for a very long time.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a while for us to break out of it. And the only way that we can do that is to set an example for the next generation by making sure to work on ourselves and work on our relationships. Like, me and Jeff purposely got married and then made a baby. Like,
Yeah.
we specifically got married so we could make a baby. And it's weird because in this day and age, that's the subversive thing to do.
Yeah.
That is,
It is.
and it's weird. Like that's traditional, but at the same time, like that
It's
actually
traditional, but it's not popular. It's not
it
the common thing.
it's not popular, it's not common, but also like the people that still do that get married and then have kids, like I feel like the majority of people that do that these days are only doing it because they're told that's how they're supposed to do it, not because they actually want to. Whereas
Yeah.
like Jeff and I, we're not religious. Oh fucking, I mean like spiritual, yeah, but we're not like devoutly religious people. And so like that wasn't even a factor in it. It was just simply like we've been through fucking hell and back and we're still surviving and we're still here and we like our bond is really strong. Like obviously like we are gonna survive the zombie apocalypse. Let's just fucking fuck it. Let's just put a ring on our fingers, like, and then make a kid, like, because we love each other and we need to spread these genes. These genes need to be out there together in the world. You know, and that's a really weird thing because I feel like a lot of people my age that get married and then have kids are pressured into it, by religious reasons or social reasons or family, not necessarily that they actually are a good fit and they love that person. They're just like, this is all I know I'm supposed to do is you get in a relationship and you're with that person and then you get married and then you have the babies. And then you have the exact opposite culture, which is just like, fuck that religious traditional shit. I'm just gonna like completely ignore sanity and reason and safety and just
I would
fucking do
say
it.
that some of it is that, definitely. I'd say another part of it is a lot of people who, especially are our age, looking to do something like that. It also comes with tax benefits,
Yeah.
and that's a huge part of it to a lot of people that I knew. In the military, we knew people that would get married just so they could get off the fucking base, because you would get housing allowance, and well, you were already granted these things,
Not just the benefits.
but you were granted these things, and they were kind of taken away because the military provided you with barracks and food and all this. But once you got married, they actually gave you the money, so you were able to not only move out of the barracks, but you were given money for food and stuff like that. So we knew multiple people that would be two service people that would just get married just to go and get away from the place. When gay marriage was legalized in the military, we knew several people that were like, fuck it, we're not staying in the barracks anymore. Let's go get hitched. We actually knew a couple of people that did that. And
That does not surprise me. Like,
no, it doesn't.
I'm gonna marry my fucking roommate. That's basically what it is. Like, you're
And
my
it was.
yeah.
Because they
Here's your
go out.
room. Here's my room.
Exactly. And what they would do is they would go out, and because since they were both service members, they would both get a housing allowance. The senior would get the full housing allowance, and the newer service member would get, I think it's somewhere between half to three quarters. And they would just pull that money. They'd get a really nice place. They'd pay for their food, and they were the houses that people would go to and party. And it's just, that's what they did. There's a lot of benefits besides just the social construct that's kind of been created, or the pressure that the government has put in place. And I can see the benefits of it to a degree, to encourage people to get married from a government standpoint, because traditionally that's how you propagate your species. So I can kind of see that, but it's created a lot of issues, and a lot of people, even in the civilian world, try to take advantage of that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like people are getting coupled up and they're not exactly compatible, but they like try to force it and then it just makes it fucking worse. Like I've had so many relationships where I've been with them for like about 2 years. Before I met Jeff, 2 years was my maximum in each relationship. And it wasn't like a thing where it's like, oh, I'm hitting 2 years. Okay, I'm bored of you. It's just like at that 2 year mark, we would realize either we were good for each other or not. And it wasn't necessarily that other person was a bad person or that,
Compatibility.
yeah, it just like, okay, like at this point, are we compatible? Are we not compatible? And most of the time we weren't compatible and it sucked. And I'm still friends with pretty much every single one of my exes except for two. I'm not friends with two of them. One was abusive and the other one I got in a fight with last year on Facebook because he's an SJW now and I
Oh
disagreed
God.
with him. But we were friends up before that. Ironically enough, it's Mother, the person that took me on the road hitchhiking, that is my boyfriend in season 1. He and I had a falling out in 2016. So I need to apologize to him because I was kind of a dick, but he was really annoying me. So we are not friends on Facebook anymore. But but yeah, like I don't know, it's just compatibility thing and I'm glad that I didn't get married to any of them. I actually proposed I was about to propose to my ex-girlfriend, my now ex-girlfriend. And I had the ring in my pocket and she told me that she cheated on me. And
Mhm.
I threw the fucking ring at her. I was like, well, you don't need this then. Like, I'm gonna go get drunk.
Oh God.
Like
I'm
broke
so
my
sorry.
heart. And it's funny because I found my compatibility at the 2 year mark with everybody. And when it came to Jeff, we got married a year and a month after we started dating.
That's funny.
Like,
That's actually about. I think it may have been a year and 2 months when my wife and I got married after
like
we started dating.
it's so crazy. Like everyone else, it like took me 2 years to decide if I was compatible or not. But like something about Jeff, I was just like, nope, you,
Yeah.
you are the one. And we've been together. It'll be in 7 years this August. No, 6 years married this August. 7 years together this July. Like it's the trippiest damn thing. I'm like, I've been with you for almost a fucking decade, man. That's weird. That's weird. Feels like fucking 5 minutes. I don't understand.
Yeah, it's funny how time seems to, move so much faster the older we get, which is sadly when you start to appreciate it more.
I
And
hate it.
uh,
I fucking hate it. I hate it so much. Like time, I miss how slow time used to go, where like a week took forever and like a month felt like ages and a year was so far away. And now
mhm.
I'm thinking like three to 6 months from now is not very far away. So if I'm planning something, like I need to get the ball rolling now because it'll fucking be there like that. And people are like, "Oh, that's 6 months away." I'm like, "That's really not that far, motherfucker." Like
that
I am
that moves a
almost
lot quicker
30.
than you think. Yeah,
I am almost 30. That is going fast.
I was gonna say I
Um,
think we're about the same age because yeah, I oh God, I've noticed the closer I creep to 30, it's like no, stay
yes.
away, and
What are you gonna
just
do for your dirty 30?
I haven't decided. I turned 29 this year, so actually this month. So I've got.
Oh, happy birthday month.
Thank you. I haven't decided. Probably I don't know. Go to Florida. That's
Go to Florida?
yeah. That's I was gonna say since we came back the first year I was back, we didn't go on vacation, but there's like this really tiny town in Florida that's on the Indian River right next to Vero Beach, and it's not touristy, nothing. We go there, and it's pretty cheap for a condo for an entire week, and it's like $100, $50 to $100 to rent a boat, and you just go out on the river and we fish, and there's islands all over the river, so we'll take the kids and the wives, and we'll drop them off, and if anybody wants to fish, they stay with us, and then we just sit out and fish. That's
That,
there's a little beach bar right across the street from where we stay, and they have bands that are traveling through that are there almost every night, and just
that sounds so nice.
go there and drink. I told my dad that's where I'm going to retire to.
Oh, you're gonna retire to Florida like everyone else?
I'm going
Like
to go there
everyone
to
else that
die.
retires in Florida.
I hate the cold. Okay.
It gets fucking cold there in the wintertime, and it's not cold enough to snow. So like temperature wise it's not cold, but the problem is the fucking humidity.
Oh, I know.
So it just like seeps in through whatever you're fucking wearing and then makes you colder because you're fucking wet.
I was gonna
Like
say it can get bad. I went to college for about a year and a half in Florida, and it was
Gainesville?
no in Pensacola, and
Uh,
it
Pensacola.
it was rough. When the winds would start whipping through there,
Yeah.
it's just like they pierce you. Like, God damn it, stop!
Yeah, dude. Yeah, buddy. I lived 30 miles west of Gainesville in a tiny little town called Bell. And man, it is even in the middle of the state, it is cold in the wintertime. And fucking Manatee Springs, though, in like March is just absolutely beautiful. Like it's still kind of cold, but it's starting to warm up. It's starting to become that Florida warmth, but it's not like kill you humidity. Um,
You just get the warm seasons for a little bit longer, and that's I mean where
they're
I'm at, you
awful.
kind of get it, but it's hit or miss.
They're fucking
So
awful down there, dude. Like
yeah,
end of April was just too much for me. Like I'm born and raised in Washington and like hitchhiking and whatever, and then like made my home base from Washington to Florida. So I moved all of my shit from Washington to Florida, but it's still hitchhiking. But like being in Florida, I think when I had my daughter, like that was the longest I ever stayed in Florida because it just end of April, I was like, this is too much. It's too fucking hot. It is too humid. And like I worked on an organic farm. And so I always made sure that they would give me cooler duty when I was pregnant because the cooler was like 65 degrees and so everybody in there, all the Floridians are like wearing like snow jackets. And I'm just sitting there like in a tank top, like sweating. I'm like, this is so nice. Oh my God.
well, the longer you're somewhere, at least from what I've seen, you become a lot more acclimated to it. So I mean, it's just one of those things. I'm sure that was one of the reasons why it felt so cold. You know, being down there during the winters was I had been down there for so long that I got used to the heat, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's really not that cold when you think about it. It's like 60 degrees,
Yeah, but it
and
feels like fucking
but it
32.
feels oh yeah, it feels horrible. And but yeah, I my wife and I have been arguing back and forth about whether or not we're going to move there, and she keeps telling me no, and I keep telling her I hate the cold, and I just assume keep moving south. But
Yeah. Pensacola Beach is one of my favorite beaches in
Mhm.
Florida simply because you can sit on the beach and watch the sunrise on the water and then sit on that same beach and like just look to your right and watch it set on the water. I'm like that is just awesome. The only other place you can do that is Miami, or you know you on in the boot part of Florida itself. You can go to the Atlantic side and watch it, and then just drive to the other side and watch the sunset. But that's not as fun.
I'll tell you what I actually miss, and it was I saw it in Barbara for You to See's video when she went traveling into Joshua Tree,
Ah,
and
Miss Joy Tree.
I was stationed in 29 Palms
Oh, you
for
were?
yeah for like about 4.5 years. So I was there and I was watching her videos and of the sun rising and sunset, and I that saloon area where she was at and Joshua Tree National Park was up there all the time, and just watching the videos of that, it actually I hated being out there for so long because there was nothing around.
There's nothing. Fucking
Exactly, you've seen it.
nothing.
There is nothing
I've
for
Yep,
oh
I walk through that town. I know all about 29 Palms.
so being
Fuck that
stationed there.
town. It's cute. There's like one cute little shop like
Yeah,
right in the way to Joshua Tree, but everything else is just like we're trying to be like the rest of California and you're like 29 Palms like you're 29 Palms. Just stop.
yeah, and
Just you're a glorified trailer park. Just stop.
that's exactly what it was, because you look off into the distance and all those shacks, because you'd have someone who'd have a house, and then on that property they'd have a one room cement shack, and you just look
Mhm.
off into the distance at night and all of a sudden you'd see smoke, and you knew it was a meth fire. That's what
Yep.
it was.
Yep.
And but the sunrises and the sunsets there were just absolutely gorgeous. That was one of the things I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, oh, I never thought I'd say this, but I kind of miss it. Just kind of want to show up and only stay for like a day and then get the hell out of there before everything else
I
happens.
I really want to take Jeff to Joshua Tree National Park. Like there's nothing quite like going bouldering in there and then climbing up onto like a random natural couch made out of boulders and just
Yeah,
watching the sunset. Like, wow, like that is amazing.
we used to take our motorcycles out there and we just ride around, and it was just I mean the hills and everything out there is just gorgeous. It's
Ugh.
so much fun. But that's the only fun thing to do there besides get tattoos and go to the bars and just get trashed.
Yeah.
That's all you could do.
Yeah, I would not want to live there. Definitely worth visiting, but I would not want to live in 29 Palms. That's for damn sure. Um, Another dude, it's so gorgeous in that national park during
Yeah,
the
it
full
is.
moon, though. Oh my
It
God.
lights up absolutely everything. We'd go out, and there were times we'd go hunt for coyotes or rabbit, and we'd go out in that general area. And
You don't even need a flashlight. Like
oh
you can
no,
just see like
the moon just lights everything because there's no real city. It's just that small town, and it's far enough away in the distance that you don't see any of the lights.
Mm-mm.
But we set off some rounds out there, some flash rounds, and they went off, and we're driving away just trying to get the hell out of there because we're like, are we actually on the park side? Are we going to have rangers coming after us? Because somebody was going away and they took it out of the armory, and we're trying to get the hell out of there, and we're probably 2 miles down the road, and you can see it clear as day because there's no trees. It's just that brush. So
Yep.
you just be looking.
Well, and the Joshua trees, but those are like
Oh yeah,
glorified bushes.
yeah. There are some fun things to do, but you have to be creative. And being out there at night, and when the sun's setting, that's one of the things I miss. Um, the desert itself was very. It was rough during the day, but during the summertime at night, being able to step outside and the dry heat, and it just felt perfect. Be like 65, 70 degrees, dry heat, just step outside, have a cigarette, and just sit there and drink and just look up, and all you could see was nothing but stars.
I do miss the desert. Like Joshua Tree reminds me of a nicer quartzite. Like Quartzsite, Arizona. It's like right on the border of California and Arizona on the
Okay.
10.
Oh
So
yeah,
like,
we passed through there coming back home.
yeah, it's to people going to Phoenix, it's literally just where you stop on the other side of the border to get gas and then
Yeah.
go on. But once a year, every January, they do the Gem and Mineral Show, followed by the RV show. So like you have people from all over the world bringing in these giant gems and minerals to sell, and that whole town is just filled with dirty hippie kids who are literally just camping out in the free wash in their tents and eating at the feed every day and then working like 16-hour shifts carrying these big giant heavy crystals, for these big rich people to buy. But that wash, that area of the desert is it's just as gorgeous as Joshua Tree, but it's like a different way. I don't know how to describe it. Because like how J Tree has that kind of weird yellowish kind of glow to the dirt.
Yeah. Yeah, trust
Um,
me, I know that glow way too well.
yeah, that's partially why when it's like a full moon, you don't have to worry about seeing because it just reflects off of that shit.
Yeah.
But as far as quartzite goes, it's more like a red color. So a full moon in quartzite is kind of different because it's still like you can still see everything, but the clay dirt sort of absorbs the light. So it's got this like really weird, creepy darkness to it, and it's just such a contrast to Joshua Tree. So like going from Joshua Tree to like quartzite and like staying, oh,
I,
I
I
miss that.
we didn't stop there, but I remember when we were driving back when we were driving back east and leaving the military. I remember it was fairly late. Well, not too late, but it was September, October timeframe. So you still had the longer days, and the sun was just starting to set right as we kind of got into the Arizona area, and I noticed the difference in the color because the mountains where we were at had that dull brown to it, but you started getting closer. And the reason I remember recognizing it was because it reminded me of Georgia clay, and I was just looking at all the different rocks around. It's like, oh, this actually looks really cool, but there were so many turns through it. It's like, this at least this will keep me awake through here, because that drive, God. The worst part of that drive was probably the west side of Texas, where it's.
Oh, did you take the 10 or the 40?
We took the 10.
Oh, you poor thing.
Yeah, and
that was an awful long drive through Texas.
It's the exact same thing for so fucking long, and it's just trying to sit there and not get stopped because you're afraid you're going to speed, or you're either going to speed or you're going to go to sleep, one of the two. So
at one point it at least does get to 80.
Yeah, at one point it does get to 80, but still, that's like, it's because it's the flat part and everyone wants to get the fuck through that. And you stop at any of the little tiny towns and no one speaks any English.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, how far to Dallas? How far to the pecan trees? Oh, pecan trees are another fucking 6 hours. God damn it.
Yeah, it was rough. We were trying to make that trip pretty quickly because we got into Phoenix, I think, somewhere around that area, and stopped for the night right after we left. And then we were just trying to make it to Dallas the next day because my wife's she's from right outside there. So we're just get there, we can crash, and we're going to stay there for a few days and then keep going. And that last part of that drive, oh, at least it was green, but because we spent so much time in that fucking desert that I was just, oh God, just get me out of a fucking vehicle. I was driving a shitty little manual Ford Ranger 4-cylinder trying to get over the hills was ridiculous. And then just trying to keep up. And we had a little Hyundai at the time and it had 4 cylinders, but it would move. And this thing, I'm just trying to freaking keep it in gear and make it go. Oh God, that was miserable.
Yeah, when I traveled on the 10 through Texas, it was in a 1981 Isuzu Pup that ran on diesel, and the fastest that thing would go, you could push it to 55, but it hated it.
Oh, God.
So instead of taking the interstate, we took small highways, which were usually 45 miles an hour. And honestly, like, I don't regret that because I got to see a lot more of this country than I would have otherwise. And
oh yeah.
But when it comes down to taking the interstate through the desert, so like through SoCal and Arizona and New Mexico into like West Texas, the trick is to drive at night and then try to sleep, like get a motel room and sleep during the day. And then like, you know, wake up and go explore that town and then wait till dark. And then once the sun starts to set, get in your car and drive again. That's the best way to do it because it's too fucking hot. So everything is going to be boring and flat anyways. It's all flat. There's nothing to look at. It's all the same. If you're taking the interstate, you might as well just drive at nighttime. And at least you have some like interesting shadows to look at and truckers. They're like the only people on the road. So, we got a super chat from Tanuki. It says, keep being weird, mems. I'm going to keep drinking. I will cheers to that, Tanuki. My beer is so flat. It's Jeff bought it for me on Wednesday. He bought me three of them because I had such a rough day at work. Oh my God, Wednesday sucked balls. It was so bad.
I'm
it was
sorry.
No, it's fine. Like, I love my job. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining about my job, but it was just rough because like someone called out sick. So it was like, you know, a small group of people doing work minus a person. So it was just very, very busy. And so I was like, Jeff, I'm going to need beer after work. So he bought me 3 of these. and I drank like that much and then watched Twin Peaks and passed out. Actually, no, I think I drank that much because it was filled to like here. So I drank that much beer and then passed out. And then the next day I was like, oh, we're gonna have more people. Nope, someone else called out. Okay. So then I drank that much. So like when we started this stream, it was there. So I've drank more of my beer on this stream than I have in the past 2 days.
I was gonna say I don't
It's a
I
bit
drink
flat.
maybe a beer or two a night or every couple of nights, but I haven't been trashed in a while. And the night
Neither.
we went out for our anniversary,
By the way,
it
I got selfies with her shirt.
How was that, guys? I forgot to ask you about it.
oh it was fun. We had people commenting on the shirt just
Which
constant.
which one? The shitlord hoodie or the cunt
The cunt
squad?
stream, the cunt squad one.
Oh.
They loved it, and it it definitely was very
Selfies.
popular. But God, I couldn't remember the end of that night. It was horrible.
I'm so glad you guys got to go have fun on your anniversary. That makes me so happy.
Yeah, we definitely had a blast. I was gonna say we went
Didn't
out.
you guys
And,
go see a movie?
yeah, we went and saw Alien Covenant, and
Oh, how was that?
that one's kind of I guess it's controversial to a lot of people. Some people really like it. Some people really hated it. I like it, but then again, with movies, I'm not that hard to please. I do like a lot of movies. Video games is a little bit different, but yeah, video games I can be really picky about. But movies, I'll sit in front of anything just about.
Have you guys seen Adam from Your Movie Sucks? He did a review of Alien Covenant, I think.
Mm-mm.
Oh my
I
god.
stayed away from there. There was like only one review I saw, and they were positive. But then I kept hearing from a bunch of other people that they saw it and they hated it. I liked it, but again, I didn't. Prometheus was objectively much worse than the others, but I didn't hate it. So
Yeah. I like Adam, the way that he goes about it with his movie reviews is like it's just so comical. Like just the way that he does the just like, really? You're gonna do that? Really? It's just like, yes. I don't know. I can't do an impression of Adam at all. I'm so bad. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna watch it until after it comes out. Like it's no longer in theaters. Just I have not seen a movie in theaters since I think the last one I saw might have been Tron 3D.
really,
Yeah, well we took mushrooms and went and
oh
saw it.
god,
And then it came out in 3D. So we took acid and went and saw it in 3D.
how was that?
That was fucking amazing. Oh my god. So like the first time we saw it, no, that's right. The first time we saw it was in 3D and on acid, and then we saw it on mushrooms, not 3D. But man, just fucking phenomenal because you're already watching it in 3D, so like things are coming at you. But then if you're on acid, it's like got tracers and everything's like super acidy, like rainbow crazy effects. And you couldn't really tell if something was part of the movie itself or if you just hallucinated it, and that was kind of part of the fun, was not knowing.
Did you
And
ever
then
go watch it sober?
yes, I have seen it sober since then.
Okay.
I don't remember what I saw that might have been a hallucination. Because I saw it, on acid, and then I saw it on mushrooms, and then I saw it sober. So like at the time when I saw it sober, I could tell you what I hallucinated and what I didn't. But it's been fucking God. That was 6 years ago.
Oh god, I've
I can't
I've-
believe it's 6 years ago. That's so weird.
I've never done shrooms or acid. I was always curious, but I never did. Weed. The weird thing about it, I love I wish they would legalize it for medicinal purposes here properly, but it it messes with me to a certain degree where the next day I will still feel a little bit out of it, but the pain reduction is so much better. The first time that I tried it after I got out, I was moving around. I'm like, oh my god, I I don't feel anything. What the hell? This is awesome. But
No. I'm hopeful that medical marijuana will become legal in all 50 states before I die. I'm wholeheartedly confident that that's going to happen. And if possible, I think it would be really awesome to see it recreationally available in all 50 states, but I'm at the very least I know medical will be available everywhere at some point before I die.
yeah, well
It's just the way that the country is going. It's the same with fucking gay marriage, you know? Like gay marriage and weed are just kind of doing the same dance where it's
they're going to
like
do their own thing, and that was the thing that I heard a lot of people like with the gay marriage proposal after the Supreme Court was that one of the arguments was you do know that almost every state was set to legalize it, like they were set to vote, and most people were voting in favor of it. That was a lot of the conservative argument was don't don't take away the rights from the states. They're going to legalize it anyways. But
yeah,
with
but
the
if every state's gonna legalize it anyways, you might as well make it
yeah,
federal. Like,
and
why
that's
even waste the fucking time? Like,
exactly
just
that.
fucking do it.
But I always felt weird about the whole marijuana thing was, which is why I can see the argument for federally doing certain things because yeah, each state can legalize it, but it's still a federal crime. So
Right.
federally, they need to deal with it.
Yeah, federally it definitely needs to be legalized. I don't know. It's really interesting because if having it legal, excuse me, having it legal in the state but illegal at the federal level is such a odd conundrum
Oh yeah,
because while the state you can't get in trouble for it, if you piss off the wrong fucking people, they will call the feds and the feds can waste time and do that if they really really need
if they
to.
decide to,
If they really need to, they will. And I think that's really dumb.
yeah, it is. There's also just because it's legal on a state level, there's a lot of jobs that you can't do it with
Yeah.
because of the federal restrictions on it. So like in my state, they've only legalized oils at certain degrees, and it's only for certain conditions. And it's kind of sad. The funny thing is, they've legalized the possession of it, but you still can't get it here. So it's you actually have to break laws to go and get the shit and then bring it in. It's
Ugh.
it's fucking ridiculous, but
We're gonna make people jump through hoops
oh yeah,
because can. That's why.
oh
Ugh.
yeah,
That's so
it's
dumb.
it's fucking stupid. Uh, my personal thing is, and I guess to a degree, for a long time, always has been. I don't give a fuck what you do until you start invading on the rights of other people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. Like I think I was having a discussion with someone on Twitter last week about medical marijuana and when it comes to driving. And someone was mentioning, like, I've never had anyone get into an accident when they're high on weed and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, like, it affects every person differently.
Yeah,
Like,
it does.
and different strains affect people differently. Like, a strain that might make one person hyper and really active and ready to, like, do a bunch of work might make another person drooling on the couch, like, so
But
with
then again, we
that.
still have we still have laws in place that do affect that. So driving under the influence. Now there's harder ways to test for that right now, but it's not as simple as a breathalyzer. But someone driving under the influence of anything, I mean, you can be pulled over and stopped for driving under the influence of pharmaceuticals. It's
Yep.
you're still going to get the same charge.
Yeah.
What was it? I think Tiger Woods just recently, that was his thing. He got pulled over for a DUI. He was actually asleep at the wheel, and they pulled him over, or they pulled up, started talking to him, and he realized what he was on, and they charged him all the same. That doesn't matter. We already have regulations to kind of deal with that.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole argument I made for why I'm against smoking marijuana and driving is, because it affects everyone differently, like there's no real way to say like, oh, you can only have this much before driving. Whereas like alcohol, even though it affects people differently as well, like it's not nearly as drastically as different as it is with marijuana, because marijuana is like mostly related to what strain it is and your body chemistry.
Oh, yeah.
And also like the amount of body fat that you have affects like how high you get as well. Interestingly enough, like I feel like I've heard that before. I'm going to retract that because I might just be quoting stoner shit I learned 10 years ago. So ignore
Well, I know there's
ignore what I just said, internet. I
I know
am not
there
a
are
doctor.
certain drugs that can be stored in your fat, and that as you detox from it, as you lose weight, it'll actually release that stuff into it. But I'm not sure if marijuana is one of them.
No, I don't know where the fuck I just pulled that out my ass. I honestly don't remember where I heard that or where I learned that or how long ago I heard this information. It could just be stoner shit I learned 10 years ago when I was stoned. So, internet, forgive me and just ignore the fat content weed correlation I just said. Ignore it. I retract it. But yeah, so like, alcohol tends to affect people differently, but it's still pretty easy to determine like when someone is fucking far gone and what the limit is and by an average. Whereas opposed to like marijuana is so drastically different. Like for me, I can be sitting next to someone that smoked weed at their house and then came over and sat next to me and I will feel stoned. Like I'm so sensitive to things. Like I can be next to someone tripping and I will start hallucinating.
How much of that, though, do you think is a placebo effect?
I think that's well, I think a lot of it is placebo, but another part of it is just like I'm very sensitive to like I really hate to say this because I'm gonna sound like a fucking hippie. I'm really sensitive to vibes. They totally rub off on me. But they do. Like I empathize with people really well. So if somebody is having like a really, really strong emotional problem, like I will feel it, and that's why I'm like really adamant about comforting them. So the same thing that affects me in that way is kind of the same when it comes to drugs. Like if somebody is high, like I start to feel high instantly, and it's probably just some weird switch in my brain, but that's just how it is. So I can get secondhand high just from someone smoking it, and it might affect me more than someone that is actually smoking the joint. So with that, like you can't exactly make a set of standards for how much is too much when it comes to driving, and I would rather it just be illegal to drive high
Yeah, well, I would
than
say
risk the
under
lives of people.
the problem, though, and you kind of get into with what you're describing, is the amount in your blood, because really that's kind of the only way to really do it, or a piss test. And since it sticks around for so long, it's kind of hard to judge when it's just happened, or how much someone's taken. So yeah, the problem is that if you were to test someone right away and say they were near somebody who was just smoking and they actually didn't smoke themselves, I don't know how much actually is in the bloodstream from that, because granted that there's a lot of rumors I heard on base, because we used to do a lot of drug testing, and you'd hear of somebody who got popped on a piss test and they'd swear up and down, no, I never did it, I was around people that did it. And people would be like, no, that's not true based on a certain amount in your bloodstream. So I really don't know from a testing standpoint how you could discern that.
Yeah, no, I was more so saying like because we don't have because it's so much harder to tell how someone is going to be affected by marijuana, I would just rather have it be illegal to drive under the influence period, than to like try and even make a set of standards that might miss the mark and put people in danger. You know, like just like
Well,
it's
but that's
illegal.
what I was saying. If depending on how they test, you can see it sticks around for so long. So how do you know if that person
Just took
smoked
it, or if it was
or it
like,
was a
oh,
day ago or 2 days ago or something like that? That would be my only concern with it. I, for the most part, I completely agree with that. Just because I don't want to risk my family or anybody else's family out on the road with somebody who's doing something like that. You know, you should be responsible if you're going to do anything, that's legal.
and it's
That's
interesting
the way it's
because
supposed to work.
it does affect people differently. Like some people can smoke a certain strain of marijuana and it doesn't even affect them at all. Like their cognitive skills are fine and they are able to function normally, but not because not everyone is like that.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to blanket make it legal just because there's a lot of people that are okay to drive. Like
Oh yeah.
there's
No, I
also a lot
agree.
of people that aren't. And I don't want to risk my kid on the road. And like here in Eugene, like it's obviously illegal, but you can tell when a motherfucker is stoned behind the wheel. Like, I'm sorry, the speed limit is 45 and you're going 15 and you're definitely not a grandma. Get the fuck off the road. Like,
It is funny.
what are you doing?
The difference that you'll see. You have some people that will get drunk and they'll speed. That's generally they're just not as
Leadfoot.
responsive behind the wheel. But like 99% of people who get high when they get behind a wheel, it's I'm gonna go 10 miles below the speed limit, and it turns into like 30.
Yeah. It's like, why are you going so slow? And you pull up beside him, you're like, oh, this is gonna be some like really, really old person that's just about to die, like they're on their deathbed, you know? And you get up there and you're like, you are younger than me. Like, obviously, you are high. Like, why are you behind the wheel? Just take the damn bus or a taxi. Like, just come on now.
We had somebody in our unit who got popped for a DUI, and they got caught because they stopped at a stoplight. The stoplight was on a parallel road behind a train track, and there was a red light, but it was like a mile away in the distance, and they thought it was right in front of them. And so they stopped in the middle of a highway, and the cop just, "What the hell are you doing?" "Oh, I'm stopped at the light, officer."
No, the light's up there, buddy.
Yeah, it's like, bitch, you shouldn't be behind the wheel.
Oh, we have we have a Jeff Holiday in the chat, and it looks like a Psychio123 came to try and fuck with me. So thanks for banning him, Jeff. I suppose I should let you guys know why he might be a little bit of a bitch right now. He decided to threaten to dox Chrisiosity. And though a lot of people don't really like Chrisiosity, I don't like doxers. So I told him he was being a little bitch because only little bitches will threaten to dox people who disagree with them. And that's probably why he's in my chat. I didn't even notice. I was having such a good time. So thanks, Jeff. I suppose
Hey, Jeff.
I suppose I should make more mods so that you don't have to be the only one in here keeping that motherfucker away. What was he saying?
He kept making comments about
oh yeah,
swatting and
yep, he's threatening to swat.
doxing.
Yep. You see, you sad sack of shit. Only a sad sack of shit will threaten to dox someone who disagrees with them. And dox swatters equal Xbox JTAG clan.
What the fuck?
So Psychio123, I'm sorry your life is that sad that you really need to like take it out on the internet and have a scapegoat. I really do. That makes me sad inside because, you know, man, last year I was working all the time and I was going through some shit and I took it out on the internet. I did. I snapped at people. I get it. It's not okay though. Like you can't do that. And I hope someday you realize that and come to your senses. Oh no, you're fine, babe. I'm sorry I didn't realize this dipshit was in my chat. I was having too much fun. Holy hell. Holy hell, he was spamming. Wow.
Yeah, I saw him post a few times and just kind
Why
of
didn't you say
ignored it.
anything?
Well, I just kind of ignored it because I didn't. 90% of the time, I mean, how.
I'm just flicking you shit. It's fine. Wow. I had no idea he was even in there. I'm not even paying attention to chat. I'm sorry, chat. I've been ignoring you. I was having such a good time.
And half the time, the ones I saw, I thought he was directing them at me, and I just thought, okay, whatever.
No. I've made friends with, well, I think she's my friend. I don't know if she thinks I'm her friend. But I think she's my friend. I made friends with Chrisiosity recently, and today she was just venting and showed me a screenshot of what that dude said, and it was pretty messed up. I didn't even finish reading it. I was just like, what video is this on? And she'd already like deleted it and reported it like a good person should. But I found one comment by him and I told him, like, you know what, like, this is not okay. Like, I know what you did and I am not okay with this. Like, I didn't even watch her video. I have no idea like what she said in her video. I don't know if I agree or disagree with it. You do not threaten to dox people. Like,
It's just a general rule.
Just
Unless
no.
somebody is actively hurting somebody, in which case you don't dox them to the whole world. Report it to the proper
exactly.
authorities.
You don't dox people. Doxing people is like promoting harassment of that person. Right. But you don't like if someone is legit like harming someone, like, then bring it to the proper authorities and try to make a difference in a good positive way. Yeah. But do not dox people. Even if they're shitty people, don't dox them. Like, you know, I would never dox Angry MGTOW, even though he was like trying to get the kid taken away.
That picture I made, you even asked me, you said, is this really his face? And I was like, no, it's Copper Cab. But you're like, oh, because I don't support doxing. Yeah, no, I just kind of thought it fit.
Well, I mean, I had to ask because I just wanted, that's really funny because I didn't even realize who Copper Cab was at the time. Like, I mean, I've seen his little like his avatar.
Yeah.
When he looked like, or maybe no, that's who it was. I had Copper Cab mixed up with Bearing Cab, and I forgot that Copper Cab was the dude that was on Tosh.0, and Mima is Copper Cab's grandma, who is also Porch Time with Mima. I fucking love that shit. Oh, that was fucking hilarious. You're gonna dox my PO box.
Oh no. Everyone everywhere send something.
Oh my god, that shit was so funny when Angry MGTOW was like, oh look, I found their address, and it's like, dude,
oh god,
did you even look to see that is the exact same like number as my PO box, which is right above that? Like, oh my god, I was kind of hoping that we would get some like angry fan mail from some like mad MGTOWs, but
that takes too much effort. God, it's much easier to.
Like, we get trolled by our own fans, and like someone doxes us by sending out our PO box and get nothing.
Oh yeah, the glitter bomb was fucking hilarious. It gave me an idea.
No!
Idea, and I'll share. No. I'll share it with you later because I think you'll find it hilarious, and I don't want Jeff to know.
Okay, I promise to keep a secret.
But yeah, that's all in good fun. Who the fuck tries to dox people? That's just
Bearing Cab's video about it was pretty damn cute. I love how he like edited it together and like the slow motion of like, whoa! Like my.
How long did it take to get all of it? Because I know y'all cleaned it up, but how long were you still finding little pieces of it, or are you still?
I still find like maybe like one speck, one tiny little speck, and it's only been a week.
I was gonna say it's pretty much the male equivalent of herpes. So
no, it's stripper scabies, I think is what it is. Raver scabies. That's what it is. That's what glitter is raver scabies. But no, we have hardwood floors, so literally we just
much easier.
It is gone. I'm still finding it on my kid though, which is weird because he's had a bath a few times since then, but I'm still finding little specks of glitter on him. So I'm like, I'm always double checking because I have this glitter gel stuff called unicorn snot, and it's like in different colors, and it's this gel, and it's pretty awesome. And it's pretty easy to wash off. So every time I see him, and I'm like, "You have glitter. Did you get into my unicorn snot?" No, no, you didn't touch my unicorn snot. Okay, so it's just copper cab. You got copper cab on my kid. Great. That I just, now I need to find a way to get like
Chat,
something.
be quiet, chat. I'm doing something. Don't say that.
I dox the fuck out of doxing is a sex move.
No,
What?
No, it's Brett. Brett's saying something, and I already had a plan to do something similar.
Oh God. Oh, okay, Brett. I'm gonna remove your last thing so Jeff can't see it. But only because that I hurt you. That's so mean. And I can't say no. So it's really funny because Jeff and I we troll each other. We troll each other all the time. We really do. But we're nice about it. It's just like stupid little things that annoy each other just enough. We'll just like poke it just a little bit until the person's like screaming, and then we stop. Like, I have the worst problem with dad jokes. I tell the worst fucking jokes, and I just, when I get to that cringe factor, I just keep going with them.
Just keep pushing it until somebody's like, shut up!
Until Jeff is like, oh my God, Memory, I will divorce you. Like, straight up, I'm going to get an annulment. Like, this is happening. Like, we're getting divorced.
I think all good marriages do something, similar to that, where you just kind of pick at each other, and especially after a certain amount of time, it's just it's a way to keep having fun.
Yeah, you gotta keep it interesting, and like it's either you pick on each other in like slight little ways that don't actually piss each other off. It just like makes their eye twitch a little bit, to keep it going and make everyone happy, or you end up like fighting. And I'd rather just poke fun and irritate. First ever video of Jeff's that you appeared him before you said anything in it. You burped first. Did I? Which video was it that I burped?
I don't remember. I do remember you did that.
I burp a lot, but I mean, like, which one was my first one?
I don't remember the first one, but I think one of the Trey Melvin ones, or the or not the Trey Melvin, the Ghazi.
Oh, Godsy.
I'm pretty sure you did that. I remember that, but
I burp a lot.
I do too.
I'm such a man. I'm just like, I try to be like a lady. I really do, but I'm so butch. I can't, man.
I'm not gonna lie though. I felt so bad when you got that package, and his first reaction was to run out of the room, because I had never seen him react to a package like that. So, the
styrofoam.
The styrofoam, and I was just like, oh shit, because that's why I sent you the warning, because I'm like, I didn't pack it myself. They used this. I didn't want it to get all over your house. I didn't realize that he had the reaction to it like that. So, if I had known that, I would have been like, oh, I'm not even sending a warning. Fuck that.
Yeah, there's luckily these days a lot of places like Amazon are now, instead of using styrofoam, they're actually the airbags, which are awesome because you can reuse them.
Mm-hmm.
But or the bubble wrap. Bubble wrap is fine, but like styrofoam doesn't break up very easy, so there's that. But then also that noise, which is weird because like I really like the noise, but I have to wait until Jeff isn't around so I can.
So you can play with it.
So I can just like, it sucks too because for me, so Jeff's is the styrofoam, and for me, it's like metal on ceramic.
Really?
Yeah, like if you're eating a good steak and you have your fork in the steak,
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
and you're rubbing the knife
It's
through
like
the
nails
steak,
on a chalkboard.
and then that knife hits the ceramic plate underneath it and makes that high pitched. Fucking I can't. So like, Jeff has asked me to like, shred chicken for him before with the forks. And like, I tried to, and then I literally had to, I dropped the forks and I was like, you have to do this. I can't do this for you.
We used to do curry and we'd shred it, and we'll do it with barbecue chicken as well. And we shred it up. The key is after you boil it, and if you can put like a pair of gloves on, if you get it out really quickly, you can pretty much rub it between your hands and it'll start to shred itself and just break apart. And it's much easier than doing it, with a knife and fork. And it's just,
yeah.
I can't stand that sound either.
When I shred it, it's like the two forks and I just like literally pull it apart.
Yeah.
But that oh my God. Yeah. Okay, I'm glad it's not just me. If Mems is butch, then is Jeff gay? No, I'm just a very manly lady. I mean, come on, like, I got the hairy armpits, guys. Like, this isn't like news to you. Like, you're watching my channel. I have a video where I say I hate shaving and show you how to wax your legs with my hairy ass legs. Like, come on now. Okay, Jeff is kind of gay. But he's not gay because I'm butch. I'm just butch. I don't know. I've always been like a tomboy. Like, crap, I'm not very girly.
I was to say my wife's a tomboy too. So
like I try to wear makeup. I think my hairy armpit triggered you. You're welcome. Like, I've tried to do makeup and I can put it on and I can do it pretty okay. But like, my problem is I always forget it's on there. And then I like go to like rub my eye because I just naturally just always rub my eyes constantly. Like, I have eye boogers right now. That's going to drive me crazy. But like, I'll do that and then I forget there's makeup on there. Now my makeup is fucked. So I just don't wear makeup unless I'm like doing a photo shoot or like something that requires it.
I can actually, I have a very hard time watching my wife do makeup around the eyes. I don't know why I have this thing about my eyes. I could never put contacts in when I was a kid, and I had horrible vision, and I got LASIK right before I went into the military. It's the most traumatizing thing right in that moment for somebody who just can't fucking touch their eyes, because they don't put you under. You lay on the table wide awake.
They don't put you under?
Oh, fuck no. And so I'm laying on top of my hands just so I won't move. And at a certain point, they've got your eye pried open, and they use anesthesia, but they've got it, held open. And at a certain point, everything just goes black. What the fuck is going on? Oh, shit. I'm fucking blind. It's, oh, God, it's fucking horrible. I've always had some weird phobia about that, to where my wife or my sister will go to do their eyeliner and my eyes will start watering. I'll walk away. I can't fucking do that.
Oh man. My uncle had the surgery on his eyes before LASIK was a thing. So they used to actually like use
PRK.
A blade and like cut it. And
I got that on my right eye. Because when I went into the military, I was thinking I'm going to make it a career. So PRK, they can do it more times on your eyes than they can the regular LASIK. So I got that on my right eye, and I got the regular LASIK on my left eye. And that, when they cut in, I'll say probably about 45 minutes after they had dosed me and then I got out, it was just, oh, fuck. It was horrible. The pain. But...
I can't even imagine. It's
awesome though. I loved it. It still to this day, one of the best decisions I ever made.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure the results are worth it. But like, I can get piercings all day just fine. But I hate seeing a needle or a blade going towards my eye as well. So like getting any dental work done like scares the shit out of me. just because like Novocaine, like having to get a syringe in my face, like fucks me up. So like I can't even imagine seeing like an actual fucking blade coming towards my eye and actually touching my eye. Like,
oh yeah, it's
that sounds terrifying.
It's fucking creepy as hell. But you know, ultimately that's the thing. I look back on it now, I'm like, oh, I wouldn't want to ever go through that again. But thinking about it, like, no, you know what? If I had to go back to glasses versus, because I spent 11 years with glasses to now, I was 20 when I had the surgery, so almost 9 years. Fuck that. I'll go and just get really drunk before I get the surgery this time.
Yeah, man, fuck. All right, I think it's been like 2 hours, and I'm gonna have to boogie here pretty soon. But before we go, chat, do you have anything you would like to ask our patron of the day, Michael? I will go ahead and give you time to ask your questions, and then we can catch up on the chat because it's been a while. I like everybody. Hey girl, hey, kiss tons of dudes, slept next to, sure. Okay. This chat got weird.
Yeah.
I'm conflicted about your armpit. I'm triggered by it, but as a follower of Keck, I applaud you for triggering me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to trigger you with my armpit hair, guys. I really just, I don't know. I grew it out when I was on the road, and it just was easier than trying to shave and get razor burn on underneath a bridge, and I fell in love with it. It's just more comfortable, so I keep it. I feel weird if I try and shave it off now. Like, I've tried shaving my armpit,
Really?
and like, yeah, and I can do it. I can shave my armpit, but then I look at it and I'm like, it looks horrifying. Like, this is not right. It's like supposed to be hair there. Like, it's like as if someone had shaved their eyebrow. It just weirds me out.
I did see a shirt that made me laugh. I don't remember where it was. I almost got it, but it was a picture of, a giant beard, and it just said the only hair that should be between your legs is my face. And I was just like,
oh,
okay. That's funny.
Oh yeah. No, I shave all of the other things. It's just my armpit hair that I'm fond of. Like, I have this really weird obsession with it. Like, I really feel weird if I have no armpit hair. Like, I shave my legs, we'll not talk about lady bits, but my armpit hair has to stay.
I would think no matter what it is, after you've gotten used to doing something for so long, it's going to feel weird after you do it.
I have to trim it though. I have to keep it trim because you don't want to, if you close your arm and there's hair sticking out, that's a bit much, man. Like,
there used to be a fucking commercial. I forget. I think it was for insurance or something. Somebody, it starts trailing along the back, and you see this really long ponytail, and you're thinking, oh, it's a girl with really long hair. And the closer you get, you all of a sudden realize it's coming out of her armpits. That was probably one of the worst things I've seen. I'm just like, oh, that's too much.
That I probably could do that, man. Like, I went to see how long it would grow, and I let it go 6 months, and I'm not even joking you, it got that long. It got that long, and it wasn't stopping. And I was like, okay, so we don't get to do that anymore. So now it's like every month and a half, I just trim it short. Just like, no, you get to be shorter. As long as you don't dye your hair blue and start doing yoga while on your period, we are cool. Bad news for you, son. I already have blue hair. It's just in a beanie. And
I think they meant the armpit hair.
I have a video where I dyed my armpit hair on my channel. It's called Memory Tries to Dye Her Armpit Hair. It has a lot of views compared to most of my videos.
I noticed that was a big thing. I think a few months ago.
Again, is it resurging?
I thought it was. At least from what I saw, I just kept seeing clips on the internet of people trying to do that.
I should retry it because, back in 2015 when I made that video, like we used pastel colors because I was like, oh, it might be cute to have like a seafoam green armpit. Like that sounds funny, you know, like, oh, look, haha, it's seafoam green. But like it didn't stick because it was pastel. So like you really have to do like bright primary colors in order for it to stick. And you have to bleach it. Well, I would have to bleach it first.
I
I
was
have
gonna say the darker the hair, you have to bleach it in order to get anything to stick to it.
Yeah, and surprisingly enough, armpit hair is very hard to bleach. Like even if you're using the correct volume and like everything, it just doesn't want to. It doesn't want to lighten at all on me. So thanks, Native Genes, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, it is what it is. You at least it's everything's kind of consistent. I've got brown hair, but everything here it grows in brown, but I get these really weird streaks of red that pop through, and it's just fucking horrible.
Do you have Scottish genes?
Yeah, I have Scottish, Irish, Cherokee, German, and I think that may be it.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of Scotchmen have the red beards. They'll have like brown hair and then the red beards.
Yeah, well, my uncle and a lot of my grandmother, my mother, and a lot of them have red hair, and so they're like, oh, we've been praying for years for a redheaded child. Yeah, you're not getting me. No, not. Nope.
Oh, all right, chat. It's been 2 hours and I have to go do some stuff. So we're going to cut it short, but thanks so much for coming and hanging out. And sorry I didn't catch that weirdo in the chat earlier. Thanks for banning him, Jeff. Thanks so much for stopping by, Michael. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It was a blast.
Bye, Internet.